Hello, everybody. Today is Tuesday, March 17th. Today, Joe Kent, the head of counterterrorism, high level Trump official, resigned in protest. He said he's against the Iran. Well, let's take a look at his resignation letter. Let's do something that a lot of media sources aren't doing, which are looking at his actual letter. I have seen supposedly credible news organizations just tap dance around his letter. I just listened to a discussion about the turmoil this creates in the Trump administration without ever, acknowledging why he resigned. So let's look at it together. Here's his letter. I cannot, in good conscience, support the ongoing war in Iran. Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation, and it is clear that we started this war due to pressure from Israel and its powerful American lobby. I support the values and foreign policies that you campaigned on. Calling out his hypocrisy. Let's look a little bit further. As a veteran who deployed to combat 11 times and a Gold Star husband who lost my beloved wife Sharon in a war manufactured by Israel, I cannot support sending the next generation off to fight and die in a war that serves no benefit to the people. He also mentions, a little bit higher up, he said, this was a lie and the same tactic the Israelis used to draw us into the disastrous Iraq war that cost our nation the lives of thousands of our best men and women. So that's his letter. And how do I feel about this as a 3-time combat veteran? This is such relief because I agree. I came to these conclusions after my second combat tour, and it made my third combat tour extremely, extremely difficult to know that I was rolling the dice again for something that didn't serve America's interests. So let me say to all 10 of you who will probably watch this video that thank you, Joe Kent. Thank you for saying what I think needed to be said for a long time. Let me point out, because they're going to try to pathologize any criticism of Israel or their influence, as they often do. So let me just offer a little context here. The thing that started the global war on terrorism, the 9/11 attacks, uh, the the decisive analysis of that was called the 9/11 Commission Report, and buried at the end of it was the conclusion they hate us because of our unconditional support for Israel's repression of Palestinians. 9/11 Commission Report. There was also the book The Israel Lobby, written by Professors Merzheimer and Professor Walt, himself Jewish, if I'm not mistaken. Now, I'm not a fan of Merzheimer. I think his takes on Russia have been ridiculous. I think his whole great country and not great country sort of paradigm is incoherent. But holy smokes, that book, The Israel Lobby, it lays it out like it's got tons of footnotes. You can't argue with it. The Israel Lobby was the decisive effort behind the Iraq War, and the oil thing was either a red herring or a minor player. Wars are bad for business, and it's not like we got Iraq's oil. All right, we just tearing their country upside down. Assembled some coalition after 20 years, and we're still there after 20 years. Our Iraqi bases are getting bombed right now. So don't let them convince you that this view is the view of some radicals. Let's take a quick look at how different news agencies are covering this. And I opened up these websites like Fox News for the first time literally in years, because I gave up on them long, long ago. So the headline is Trump's reaction, that, Trump saying about Kent, good thing he's out. That's the headline. And do we get an explanation of Joe Kent's why he resigned? Well, not yet, not yet. Okay, in the second section here, another picture. All right, third section here. Okay, here. I think this is called burying the lead. Here they quote Joe Kent about what he said: "I cannot, in good conscience, support the war. Pressure from Israel and its powerful American lobby." So they bury the lead a little bit. All right, let's look at CNN. So again, he resigns. Does it say why he resigned? It does. I cannot wait. I cannot, in good conscience, support the war. Okay, so second paragraph, he claimed Israel had lured United States into war. Kent is highly imperfect messenger with a checkered past dating back to his failed campaign for U.S. House. After that, combined with extensive focus on Israel in his resignation letter, should trigger some alarms about precisely where his views are coming from. So it couldn't be that his views are coming from the 9/11 Commission report, from Merzheimer and Walt. Oh, Colin Powell's autobiography points to Israel as the main effort, behind the changing the thinking in the Pentagon. Um, uh, maybe Netanyahu appearing in Congress not only year after year, but decade after decade after decade, asking for this war. Maybe that triggered his views. But CNN just asks ominously, where did his views come from? This is a typical strategy, pathologizing disagreement. And and they go further. Let's here. But Kent didn't stop there. He also cited Israel's powerful American lobby. He blamed high-ranking Israeli officials for a misinformation campaign and quote unquote about the threat posed by Iran. He blamed Israel for drawing the United States into the Iraq War, and he also called the Syrian civil war, in which his wife died, a war manufactured by Israel. In other words, it sounded a lot like the things you might hear from Fox News host Tucker Carlson these days. Look, again, not a, there. Tucker Carlson has been really wrong about a lot of things, but this particular criticism seems to me right on, and I think they're trying really hard to pathologize anyone who disagrees with them. Say, oh, there's obviously something wrong with you because normal people don't have these views, when in fact all you need is eyes and ears to have these views. Lastly, I want to look at NBC News, and they do an admirable job, I must say. Look, it's in the subheadline. They quote Kent, "Clear that we started this war due to pressure from Israel," in the subheading, and they quote him in the opening paragraph or second paragraph. They don't go into it. Like, I would think that's the responsible journalistic thing to do, is like, okay, all the evidence that yes, this was the reason, all the evidence that it wasn't, maybe some evaluation, maybe some discussion, but I don't expect all of that. In fact, what I expected was what CNN does, which is just to strongly allude that he's some, radical and a failure and not credible. So I guess this neutral take from NBC might be the best we could hope for. All right, wanted to make a note of that. All the best.